All right, everybody on Facebook and YouTube, thank you guys so much for joining us. This is the podcast, Is This Thing On the Just Us Network. Let's just get right into it, you guys. I have two special guests in studio, and I have another special guest calling in. And man, I'm really excited about this one because I'm just super excited, man. I'm just telling you right now, they're changing the world. They're changing the game. Let's introduce Marlon Moore and let's introduce Gordon Hinkle and give you guys a warm welcome to the show. How you guys doing?
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Thanks for having us. We're really excited to be here today.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited about this one for a couple of reasons. Number one, because of CESI. I'm a not much of a gamer anymore, but I used to be. I wish I could have got paid or go to school for gaming. So let's just kind of go around the table a little bit. And I want you guys to kind of give a little backstory on yourself and then a little history on yourself and then actually talk about your involvement with CESI. So let's start with you, Marlon.
Well, me, just simple guy from Sacramento, California, born and raised. Had a chance to play football at Fresno State University. From Fresno State University, I took it on to be an undrafted free agent of the Miami Dolphins. Played for the Miami Dolphins for 4 years. Played for San Francisco 49ers for a year, and also the Cleveland Browns for 3 years. And now I'm retired after a pretty lengthy career. I'm retired, and now I'm just doing personal training. I coach at Intercom High School. I'm the receivers coach. Plus, I do a lot of work with special teams and helping with the passing game. And I do personal training as well. I used to train his son right now, who's
Nice.
hitting a lot of home runs right now. So I'm glad that he's doing that. But my involvement with CESI, I just help out Gordon with any ideas. I'm a thinker, so that's what I
Nice.
help him out with.
Nice. Beautiful. So we actually just got a phone call from a very special guest as well. Jeff Garcia is on the line. Jeff, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We hear you perfect. I'm gonna give it up for you as well. Hey, look, we got something going on special right now. I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. The energy in here is amazing. Jeff, while we got you on the phone, can you just for those who don't know, I'm pretty sure everybody knows who you are, but for those who don't know, can you just kind of give a little rundown on who you are and what your involvement is with CESI?
Yes, sir. I'm the redheaded Mexican from Gilroy. Or at least I used to be redheaded. I don't have hair anymore, so I'm hanging on to what's left. But no, hey, grew up in the Central Coast area of California, Northern California, San Jose State graduate, San Francisco 49er, as well as other teams in the CFL experience. But 16 years of professional football under my belt. Great experiences, great time. Hey, continuing to prove myself over and over as kind of that underdog person, that underdog player, not big enough, not this, not that, but overcoming those odds. And really, my involvement with CESI started through a gentleman by the name of Jeff Pappas, and he introduced me to Gordon Hinkle. I met Gordon, and Gordon came down to my camp in Gilroy last summer, the local camp that I put on for all of the local kids in the town that I grew up in. And, we just hit it off. I saw what Gordon was putting together, what he was doing, the people that were involved with him, what it means in this day's world, what we're dealing with technology and the direction that kids and youth and adults are taking it. And, I thought that this was an excellent opportunity for me to be involved in something like this. I'm somewhat of a newcomer, although I have 4 children that all think of themselves at some point or another as gamers and enjoy playing the games and competing against friends and doing all those sort of things. So to see this really put into an educational model where it's bringing it to the colleges, competition within the colleges, opportunities for scholarships for programs that these kids coming out of high school can continue to pursue, where they have a passion for it, and having a fun competitive experience on a grand stage in a stadium in front of a huge audience, in front of their peers, showing what they're capable of and what they're made of. So, to be on top of that or be a part of that as an investor in the company, as also a representative when they start doing more events and being a part of those events, and being out there to inspire and motivate and excite all the people that are involved, especially the kids.
Wow. I love that so much. And we have another guest in the arena as well, so to speak. He's branding. He got the branding going on right now, man.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody give it up for Gordon Hinkle, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gordon, very good to see you again. My first introduction to CESI was, of course, through a mutual friend of ours. I got invited out to Golden One Center.
Right.
And I met you at this thing. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here looking like, nah, these dudes are not playing video games in the middle of the basketball floor, all on the Jumbotron. Gordon, can you just give everybody a little bit of rundown of who you are and then what your involvement is with CESI?
Yeah, no, thank you, Carl. I'm the president of College Esports International. That's what CESI stands for. And you're right, we met at the Golden One Center when we did our finals last year. And that's our second year. We worked with the Sacramento Kings and the Kings Guard Gaming. Fantastic partners, being a Sacramento guy. They've been a fantastic partner in that beautiful arena. But what we do is we put on collegiate competition with a focus on not just the gaming, but also career pathways through esports. So these students are the brightest at their universities a lot of times. They're not only gamers, but they're engineers, they're computer technicians, they have aspirations to do great things. So what we try to do is introduce, Fortune 500 companies through gaming. We try to show them that there is a whole world out there. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Wow. Whether you're going into logistics or game design or broadcasting or shoutcasting or the technical side, there's so much more. Even if you don't go pro as a collegiate esports player, if you love that scene, there's a lot of opportunity there. And it's a lot of fun to get into the educational side of what we do, and that's what really motivates us at CESI, not just in the U.S. but internationally. The I is for international. We've got partnerships in Saudi Arabia, the Netherlands, Asia, China, Japan, South America, Canada. So we're getting ready to do some really cool things on a global scale down the road. So I'll keep you posted on that too.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm not sure how long we got you, Jeff. But listen, it's an honor. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have all you gentlemen in here. You as well, Marlon, you, Gordon. Jeff, while we got you on the phone, so this podcast is not only just about entrepreneurship, but it's about mindset as well. And you've had you said 16-year career, and I just want to kind of go over a little bit about, I guess, the mindset that it takes from being a kid, collegiate, and then pro, and then after pro. Has the mindset actually changed, for the different stages in your life that you've reached?
I mean, I think naturally it starts to change in ways, but I still have that competitive fire burning inside of me, especially when it steps in front of the youth and really trying to inspire and motivate them to want more out of themselves. I think that I've been able to transfer that passion, that motivation, that excitement into being around our youth in sports, and whether it's coaching my own kids or running football camps for kids or speaking to kids, reading to kids, at schools. Those are the things that I've become really passionate about in my afterlife of playing the game of football, and just really sharing my experiences, my motivation, sharing the fact that, hey, you can achieve whatever you want in your life if you set your heart and your mind to it. But you got to be able to, you got to want it. You got to want to put the work into it, to dedicate yourself to it, to overcome the obstacles, the walls that are put in front of you. You got to find your way to break through them, go around them, go over them, whatever it may take. But you're capable of doing it, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't. And I think that's really the message that I try to share with our youth, with athletes, with students, that they need to be well-rounded individuals first and foremost, that they have to be givers to their community, and stop taking this selfish approach. But when it comes to sport, when it comes to preparing themselves, they really have to dig deep within themselves to bring out their best. And how are they going to do that? How are they going to challenge themselves to reach the top of the mountain? And that's what it comes down to, man. I often say that, hey, it's not so much that I was a quarterback. I was a mountain climber. It was one step at a time, trying to reach that very tip of the top and trying to be the very best. And I had to really focus on what it was within me that would bring out that edge, that fire, that work ethic, that dedication to my craft, that would allow me to be able to compete with the elite, compete with the best that was out there. And finding a way to strategize and be that guy that can create a winning edge, and expecting perfection out of myself. I think so often times these days we see kids that just give up too easily. When they're challenged, they turn and walk away from it instead of accepting the challenge and really biting down and facing it and fighting, having a fighter's fight, a mentality that you're going to fight, you're going to battle, you're going to struggle, but hey, you're going to find a way to get on top. And that's what it's all about for me today. I mean, I was blessed to grow up in a family where my dad was a football coach at the junior college level. I grew up around it. Those 18, 19, 20-year-old young men who were being motivated, inspired by my dad, and kicked in the butt at times, but also embraced and loved. Those were my idols. I wanted to be like those guys. When I grew up, it wasn't so much about being a professional athlete. It was, I want to be like them. I want to play for my dad. I want to be able to play at that level. And what can I do right now that's going to help me prepare and get to that point in my life? And once I reach that stage of, hey, being a high school quarterback, being a high school football player, a high school athlete, a basketball player, and then taking that to the next level of, hey, I wasn't recruited by major colleges, so I went to the junior college and I battled there. And then I got that opportunity at the major college, and I went there and I battled there. I was taking one step at a time, be the best that I can be in the moment, live in the moment. And that opened the next door of opportunity. And when the next window of opportunity opened up or presented itself, I had to be prepared mentally and physically to make the most of that opportunity. And that's what it came down to.
Wow. I love that, man. I'm going to give it up for you on that, because even Gordon, is in business. What he just described is similar in business, though, right?
Totally. And this is why I feel so lucky to be surrounded by guys like Jeff and Marlon here that have come behind us with CESI. They get what we're trying to do, because that's the motivation. That's what we saw in Jeff, why we sought after him to be part of CESI, was that he understands what it takes. That's what we're trying to encourage these young people to do. That you may not go on to be a pro at esports like right away, but you may be the next superstar in industry. You may be the next superstar of your broadcast world. So aspire for great things. All of us have that within us, and we want to inspire the youth. And that kind of brings us to why we're here today with Marlon and Jeff. We're going to be doing a football camp here in Sacramento region on June 4th. And these guys are going to be doing their thing on the field. And then afterwards, we're going to take them to do some fun gaming afterwards. So It's going to be a fun day. So we want to get the word out about that. And that's kind of what this whole experience is about with CESI, is inspiring young people to do great things, whether it's, on the technology side, the physical component of what we do. All that kind of mirrors together. We see the evolution of what's happening with sports and the convergence with esports. There's a lot of crossover now with virtual reality and physical gaming that's actually kind of being tied into the technology side.
We got it on our Nintendo Switch right now, where there's a true fitness game. Fitness ring, and you got to hold it, just ab workout, squats, everything, man. It's crazy. It's fun, but as far as the fitness side of it, man, that's one thing that we've been focusing on, just trying to find ways and tools that can help these athletes, because that's what they are technically.
Yeah.
They are athletes, with their focus, their vision,
Yeah.
Hands,
And eye
anything,
coordination
yeah,
for sure.
everything,
Yeah.
any and everything that can go into gaming, even sitting down, the way they're sitting, arching the back, seats, anything.
Like
that
right
can-
now, my posture all bad. I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out,
because you
Yeah.
want them to be as comfortable as possible.
Yeah.
Some are on keyboards, some are using controllers, so it's different things that go into it, different components. So you want them to be as comfortable as possible. So that's where my mind comes in
Yeah.
to play somewhat. I'm just trying to help bridge that gap
sure.
between the gamer and the training for a gamer.
Yeah, so let's talk about your journey as well, Marlon. I know you got a special story. You know what I mean? You were an NFL player before as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I mean, you're in the business realm as well. You know what I mean? Let's talk about that journey from the youth, the collegiate, being a pro, and Gordon kind of let me in a little bit about what you were going through. How does that relate, and how can you use some of those tools to go to the business, to the business realm? So let's start with the the NFL journey.
Well, I'll give you a rundown, man. So like I said, I'm born and raised in Sacramento, California. Went to Natomas High School, and my senior year, I wasn't highly recruited. I'm just another guy on the field making plays. I didn't know where my career would lead me.
Yeah.
So my last game was my 5th game of the season, maybe 6th game of the season. We were 5-0. Yeah, 6th game of the season. We were 5-0 up until that point, and we were making some noise. I break my leg. Catching a 40-yard bomb, break my leg. My boy Pierre Pico, it's not your fault. I love you, dog. But end up breaking my leg, and that's the first point of adversity that hits. You feel me? And then I'm like, okay, don't know where I'm going from there. But one thing I do know: make sure that the grades are good. Make sure that I'm taking care of business, because I don't know what's gonna happen. Just be prepared for whatever. Schools come knocking. Still getting the offer, still getting the chance. Boom, Fresno State. I land at Fresno State, which is beautiful. Adversity hits again in 2008. That's my junior year, I believe. Yeah, my junior year. My father's diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
So I didn't know that going into training camp. I go to training camp. The day that I get there, that's when I find out, my parents tell me what's going on. And the first thing my dad says to me is like, all right, bro, it's okay. Just go focus on football.
Mm-hmm.
So people look at me and be like, why are you like this? Why are you so quiet? That's what I was told. My dad, he wanted me to do that. So go to a few games later, UCLA comes around and we're playing UCLA. Score my last touchdown that my dad ever seen me score, because he died the following week.
Wow.
So adversity hits again.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on. My mindset is gone for my senior year. A lot of different things are happening in my life that I can't control. But luckily, I'm able to focus, get it together, and be an undrafted free agent of Miami Dolphins. Had to battle through everything. Draft picks, players that were there before me, coaches, media. Had to battle through so much just to overcome and make it through a mini camp. Not a training camp, a mini camp.
Yeah.
And then that's the last time that they had the double days. You feel me? 2010, I believe, was the last time they had double days. So you're a rookie going through double days. You don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you're an undrafted free agent. You're already not getting a leg up. So your mindset has to be totally different from the jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's draft picks that come in with the chip on their shoulder, but nobody understands the mindset of an undrafted free agent that is literally battling from the mud.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's a different animal when nobody knows that you're there.
Yeah.
You feel me? So you got to go ahead and do something to make a splash. So I was able to do something in Miami, make a splash, come back to California, make my first score my first touchdown against the Raiders. My bad.
Man, that was my team, Mike.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm a Cowboy fan, so it's good.
Mine too.
But score my first touchdown against the Raiders, and then my daughter comes into play, get married, and it's a bunch of things that's happening in my life. And in that whole moment, I'm still having to battle as a football player. I'm not solidified at any point, but that's what made me the person that I am. Understanding that at any given moment, this game can be taken from you. At any given moment, this life can be taken from you. So you got to cherish every single moment, every single day, every single person that you may interact with. And it changes your mindset when you have that, because it helps you build better relationships.
Yes.
And you see things differently because you're not dwelling on the negative, you're more focused on the positive.
Yes.
You feel me? And that's what I seen through my whole NFL career. I didn't see the negative. I seen the positive. Things may not have gone right, but I seen the positive, and the positive outcome was me living out my dream and having a chance.
Yeah.
Regardless of what may happen, I'm still here.
Yes.
You feel me? That's
Yes.
what I'm saying. So after that, I retired 2016, get out the league, and things don't go as they're supposed to for everybody.
Yeah.
I hit my hardships, and I'm happy about that. You got to hit rock bottom to bounce up. You
Yes.
feel me? And that's the way I feel about that. So in that moment, I go to one of my trainers, and I start training with him, getting back into the training world, start picking up clients. That's how I meet Gordon and his son. And I was training his son back in 2016, back when he was a young man. You feel me? So from that point on, I just kept the training world going, stayed involved in an adult fitness, youth fitness, football players, basketball players, baseball players, anybody that I can share my journey with.
Yes.
And it's not just about me sharing the journey of training, it's about me sharing the journey of mindset.
Yes.
And that's
yes.
what I'm teaching when I train these kids. It's not about the physical attributes. I've seen cats like myself, not the most physical, not the most athletic, but my mindset was different than yours. And you couldn't top that, no matter what.
Yep.
You feel me? So there you go.
You got to be willing to outwork the competition, right?
Period,
You know what I
point
mean?
blank.
Because like you said, so backstory on me, I had a couple of different businesses, and one of them is a record label. And there's really, really talented artists, and then there's artists that may not be as talented, but how do those guys make it to the top?
Yeah.
And they have that. It's a different mindset. You know what I mean? So to say that, Gordon, how this is esports. This is something that it was frowned upon when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Even coming up, even a little bit older, go get a job. You can't sit around and you can't make no money off of this. There's kids making millions of dollars
Right.
off of esports, right?
They're young.
And they're young. You know what I mean? There's so many ways to make money now off of playing a video game. And this is it's still blowing my mind to even think about that. Like, I don't know if I told you, when I was a kid, my mom smashed she made me smash my Super Nintendo.
Oh wow.
Oh, no.
Cause I played it too much.
Oh, that's
My grades were cool, yeah, but she was like, take out the trash. Cause I'd be like, all right, and I don't take out, go mow the lawn. All right, I'll do that, and I don't. I'm in there, playing video game, right? She made me smash it. So Gordon, how has that struggle been? Just getting the video game, the nature of the video game. How do you change that
Mindset.
narrative? Yeah, and that mindset. Yeah.
No, that's a good question, and we get that a lot because I think there are a lot of folks that still see gaming as that, like kids in the basement eating Cheetos and junk food and not focusing on their studies. I'll tell you a great story. So we did a tournament 2 years ago here in Sacramento, and we did a little reception for the players out at Topgolf in Roseville, and so we were having fun, having a good time after the first day of the tournament, and we did an education panel with Fortune 500 leaders from industry from all over, like big companies. And so we did a fantastic 2-3 hour seminar after the gaming competition. The kids were engaged. I had a parent from Loyola University come up to me and say, Mr. Hinkle, can I pull you aside and talk to you for a minute? I'm like, oh no, what happened here? Like some kid do something. And he says, I was coming up to Sacramento to tell my son to knock off this gaming stuff, focus on his studies, and get on with life and focus. And after I saw what I saw today, I was completely wrong. I'm going to encourage my son to get involved with esports because I see the connectivity to industry, to networking. It's his safe zone at school. It's where his friend network is. He goes, I'm blown away at what you guys are doing here, and you have 110% my support. That was a validation of everything we were trying to do.
Yeah.
Because not the majority of these kids are going to go on to be pros or get those pro contracts, but they're going to make connections. They're going to have a safe space at school where they find their friend network. But you do have to have a balance too. You have to study, you have to stay fit. These are the things that we kind of are always, kind of highlighting in what we do at CESI. How do you stay fit as a gamer? How do you keep your mindset healthy? How are you focused on your studies? How can those lead to industry connections that will further your career? And that's really what we want the students to get from the fun experiences that go along with that. Yeah, the gaming is fun, and we're going to encourage that. And there's some great players. Some of them are top 10, 15, 20 at different games, in the country. We get great schools: Florida State, UNLV, UC Davis, Sac State, CSU Fullerton. San Jose State, Fresno State. Like we get some really great. These
I'll
kids
wait for you to say
they don't
Fresno.
get into these schools
I was
just
gonna
by
let him do that.
being average. I mean, they have to work to get there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. I think I had a conversation. I think it may have been with you. They have to have like a certain platform already built for themselves, right? Is that kind of accurate with the with the YouTube and all that stuff? And they have to have okay, let's rewind that. What are some of the requirements to be?
To be a team. So
Yeah.
every university has a different kind of
Okay.
build, and this is the interesting thing about the kind of where collegiate esports is like every university, college, team has different support networks. Some
Yeah.
get great support from faculty and administration. Some get zero. And they're just like a club on campus, and the kids are doing it all themselves.
Wow.
We try to encourage the campuses to jump in with faculty and admin to get involved because they don't see always, those positives that we just talked about, where these students are meeting like leaders of industry, the money that's involved with esports now, like I said, it's $1 billion industry globally. Once the universities find that out, and most of them have now, almost every major university has an esports team. A lot of them are falling now under their sports program. Others are still operating as a club or a separate entity on campus. But CESI is trying to help bring some kind of harmony to that whole network. We have great, partners and other folks doing the same thing we are, just not to the degree we're trying to put it on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
Because we see the growth and we see the opportunity. So CESI is trying to take that wonderful growth in esports at the college level and put it on a bigger stage. But that's our goal, is really to highlight, to help those clubs grow, to give the students resources that they're not getting maybe from their school or campus, or if they are getting those resources, how do we highlight them and let that be a model for other schools? And so that's what our whole DNA is about, is like encouraging those activities.
Beautiful, beautiful. Jeff, there's in shape, and then there's NFL shape, and then there's 16 years of NFL, and then now you're trying to translate some of that mindset to some of the youth. Now, what's your approach? When it comes to dealing with the youth, especially with something like video games, how do you, I guess, motivate? How do you kind of translate your experience and the way you go about life to something that has been looked at as a waste of time? Like, what's your approach to kind of combating some of that?
I mean, I have 4 kids, and they're ages 11 through 15 right now. So with children these days is that sense of communication, that sense of respect, that sense of it's not just about you. Stop with the entitlement. It's not just about you. It's more than that. It's bigger than that. And, that's where I think we try to interfere with too many hours of the gaming. I get that it has become a part of life, that there are job opportunities, there are scholarship opportunities, there are educational opportunities, but there's also got to be some physical health, movement, because too much of our society is not doing enough physically for themselves, whether it's eating habits or just physical activity.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I can agree with a lot of that. And, the funny thing is, the way the world is today, I've met some of my best friends playing Call of Duty or playing NBA 2K. And that's the craziest thing. You know what I mean? Like, people say go out and go meet somebody, but what if I'm actually meeting people? Maybe it may not be physical.
That's
you know what I mean?
The world is. It's digital.
Exactly. And I've literally met some of my best friends in the world by playing NBA 2K or Call of Duty, which is crazy. Now, so Marlon, what's your approach when it comes to the youth, and then kind of alluding to what Jeff said with that balance? Is there something that you kind of, I guess, that you lean to one way or another, or is it just that multifaceted thing?
Well, I'm a little bit younger than Jeff, so we'll just get that out the way. I grew up playing video games. You feel me? So,
he's younger, but I'm looking just as tight and taut as he is, man. I'm keeping after it. Let me tell you that.
But I grew up, you feel me, playing video games. So one thing that we was doing, it was playing for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it was competition, but it was really just for fun. And now you see when these kids get on the game, it's not necessarily fun.
Yeah.
It's a competition.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
Feel me? Like, it's a lot of stuff that happens in Call of
Yes.
Duty, man. And I
Yes.
ain't gonna say it, but it's a lot of
Yes.
stuff. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm good at it. I sit back, I get popped, I listen, I watch. You feel me? And
Yeah.
I just pay attention to the different things. And being able to watch, like Gordon said, the tournament he had a couple years ago, when they were playing the game, I believe Rocket League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocket
League.
They were playing this game and watching the focus
Mm-hmm.
that these guys had, and then watching the celebration after they won.
Yeah.
That's something you only feel in sports,
Yeah.
in physical activity, when you really come together, or as an individual with your mindset, and you overcome something or someone or a team.
Yeah.
And when you really get that feeling, and then you see it in a gaming setting, it opens your eyes to a lot of different things, because you're just like, it's not just football, it's not just basketball, it's not just baseball, it's not just hockey, it's not just soccer.
Yeah.
There's games. There's multiple games. And the thing about video games, they're endless.
Yep.
There's anything that you can do on it. Any type of competition you want to create between somebody, you can create it. Any type of world you want to create, you can create it. So I say this to say that the balance between the physical aspect of it and the gaming aspect of it is a fine line, because there are the people that really indulge in their life is gaming, where they don't see the light of day until they open a blind and say, oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
daylight, and then they shut it again and go back into their game. That's where the dangers come into it. But then you do have the ones that really focus on the mental side of it, the focus that they can gain from, all right, let me go out here and take this walk or this run, clear my mind, exercise my mental, be stronger physically, and the physical strengths will play into the mental strength as well. And when you take that balance and you can find that balance, you're unstoppable, and that's what makes elite athletes, your LeBron Jameses, your Jimmy Butlers, as you see. You feel me? Your football players. I'm not going to name too many, but that's what makes elite athletes, because they're able to take that physical, and then in the moment of triumph, it's that mental that overcomes. It's not the physical that overcomes, it's the mental.
Yeah.
So watching these gamers let that mental overcome, it's a
I'm
beautiful
so
thing.
glad he talked about that, because that's what we're seeing, this convergence, and that's why CESI put so much time into working with our NFL, NBA, MLB partners. We see that convergence of sports and that mentality that esports does bring to the table, and it's a great equalizer. You could have a physical ailment, or be handicapped and still compete.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great equalizer, but it doesn't matter if you're male or female or whatever behind the
it is.
screen. If you're great, you're great.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. And that's really what we're doing on June 4th with this camp, is we're going to do the physical side, and then we're going to invite the kids to our partners at the Rock and Soul Diner here in Sacramento at 10th and S Street. I want to get a shout out for that,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
After we do the football camp, all the students competing will get to come out to the diner and play games and have fun. So they'll see both sides of it, the physical, competitive side, and then they'll bring that competitiveness inside, and we'll do some gaming for fun and let them experience that. So
Nice.
check out Rock and Soul Diner. Our partners, Matt Haynes, him and his brother launched this restaurant. We are so excited about what that's bringing to Sacramento, because it's taking great food and adding like a fun environment for gaming, and we're going to be doing a lot of fun activities. Sacramento State University is using that facility now as a practice facility. Nice. So we have a great partnership with them, and UC Davis and other schools are in there quite a bit doing some fun stuff. So come check it out. 10th and S Street downtown, and be sure to get information on the football camp too, because you guys want to meet Marlon and Jeff in person. The Sacramento community is really blessed to have these guys coming in to do their thing. I've seen Jeff last year do his camp in Gilroy, and I was blown away. The energy, Jeff, you bring incredible energy. That's why we wanted him on our team at CESI, is because that energy, he understands that balance for youth and the importance of knowing where we're at in this day and age with technology, but also that need for the physical, health and wellness piece of what we do. So it's a great convergence.
That's beautiful. So let me ask you this. So is there an age limit on when kids can get started with this? Because obviously kids, you see 2-3-year-olds with tablets. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
no,
then,
I got a great story on this. Okay, so we just did a charity tournament in Vegas with at the HyperX Arena, and we were actually working with one of our other partners, Greg Vaughn, former MLB player, Silver Slugger Award winner, 50 home run hitter, amazing baseball player, also from Sacramento. So for his charity, for the Greg Vaughn Valley Vaughn Foundation, we did juvenile diabetes charity, and on our team, one of our celebrity star players was an 8-year-old named Rowdy Rogan, who's a YouTube sensation. Check him out. Rowdy Rogan's a great kid. He came onto our team to play and was just crushing it. Like, he was probably our best player on our charity team. So we did that to raise several $1,000s for juvenile diabetes, which was an awesome thing. So another thing we love about esports is the ability to give back to community and do fun things like that. But you can start early. But again, his parents get heavily engaged with what he's doing. He travels around the country as an 8-year-old and gives demonstrations on how good of a gamer he is. And then on the other side of the spectrum, at that same event, we had this gal named Tactical Grandma, who was a grandma gamer who does her thing where she'll go on and destroy the young kids as a grandma, and it's hilarious. Both of these are good friends of our network, and these are the types of activities we're going to be doing down the road with CESI. We're going to be running the state fair competition in July.
Wow.
For 2.5 weeks at a pavilion. We're doing the state Bear Cup, Esports Bear Cup, which is the official state competition for esports. We'll have colleges, high schools from all over the state coming up to compete for the official state champion of esports. And so these are the kind of activities we're hoping to bring into that environment. You can see pro gamers mixing with the college kids, with the high school kids, encouraging game design and the intellectual part of it, the educational part of it. It'll be 2.5 weeks of fun. So be sure to look at the State Fair website. If you want to sign up for our football camp, go to playon, that's PLAYYON.com, where you can register and sign up for that. Also, teams can start registering now at the State Fair website. If you want your high school team, your college team, junior college, doesn't matter. We're accepting any state, team that wants to come up and compete to come and join us. So it's going to be a great time, and hopefully Marlon and Jeff will get a chance to come by too. So we'll have a lot of celebrity guests coming in.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Let me get back on here live for some kind of reason. It just kicked us off the live, but we got it on here. So let's do this. Get involved in this that have disabilities and all that. I never even thought about that. Mm-hmm. There's a level of fame that comes from these gamers that do this at a really, really high level.
They're rock stars, bro.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So they can be in that realm. They can be a Jeff Garcia. They could be a Marlon Moore. They could be a LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? They can
aim higher.
You know what I'm saying? They can. Hey man, look. I'm looking at you right now, brother. You are like you got it, man. You know what I'm saying? You got it. You know what I mean? And you made it to the NFL, and now you're on the other things. I couldn't make it to the NFL. You know what I mean? I didn't have the mindset for it. You know what I mean? And I'm realizing now, like, sometimes you have a calling, but whatever that calling is, you're gonna put that work in, to get whatever you're called to do. You know what I mean? And then you get there and you handle your business there. Whether you're the LeBron James or whatever the case may be, you have an opportunity to be a LeBron James in some other category. You know what I mean? So your accomplishments are your accomplishments, man. But so what's is there a minimum age to this? Do you guys go out and recruit people like, hey man, this 6-year-old killing people on Call of Duty, man? Should we go check him out or something? You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, well, of course, at the collegiate scene, you gotta be a student, right?
Okay.
And so most of the competition starts getting serious. Sometimes now junior high school level, kind of like with like traditional sports too, right? You're starting to see the competitions start to get organized around the junior high school levels. But if the high school kids are really good, they'll go straight to pro. It's not like It's not like where in the traditional side of things where you go to college first and then go pro. Sometimes because that speed and agility, the hand-eye coordination, the pro teams want high school kids, 17, 18 years old. Yeah. But when they'll go straight pro. And what's interesting about what CESI does is now we have pro teams approaching us saying, hey, our pro player's done with the circuit. They want to go to college. Can you help them connect at the college level?
Wow.
So they go pro and into college, but they're realizing that there is this connectivity that has to happen because the collegiate scene for esports is so big, you can't ignore it. So, and you do get some that are good enough to go from the college ranks on to pro afterwards. They get recognized later on. Not always directly out of high school, but so there's all these crazy dynamics happening with esports. It's a little bit different than traditional sports, but the similarities are still there with all the competitiveness, all the things Marlon was just talking about.
Yeah.
And so we see that. But I would say if you have a young kid, encourage them to stay involved if they have a passion for it. But as a parent, you also do have to put guidance and protections around it. And that's the other thing we're trying to do is that these kind of things we're doing with the camp is to say that, hey, esports should be fun, but it should be controlled and it should be protected and safe.
Yeah.
The kid should have a safe zone. Like as a parent, I have 3 kids. I worry to death about some stranger coming online.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing with AI that they can emulate your voice, your persona.
Yep.
They could pretend to. I just saw a horrible story about suicide where a kid was like blackmailed into that they were going to do something terrible with his personal information, and he couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
So we want to protect against those evils out there and say, hey,
sure.
let's create a safe zone for young people.
Yeah.
Fun, engaging tournaments, but if you have the guidance and the right protections around it, it can be very rewarding and very help them be successful in their other endeavors outside of the gaming. So that's really important to us that we create those safe spaces, safe zones, and really protect the kids in those environments that they connect. This is where 80% of all college students consider themselves gamers.
Yeah.
If you go to any dorm in the country when they're moving in, they're bringing in their flat screen TVs, their Xboxes.
Consider themselves gamers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
huge. It's like, and so even if they're not playing organized, they have their own personal networks that they're engaging with. So we would like to, help encourage those communities to have a place to go to where they can watch competitions, they can have their favorite players, they can have that fun, and then maybe they're going to learn about a connection or a job opportunity or a career pathway. So that's what we would like to really highlight and encourage.
What's funny is I was watching right around the time like the NBA 2K league started to pop up, right? And I wanted to try out for it. I'm okay. I've been playing 2K probably since 2K, has started way back in like '99.
So you're more of a gamer than you let on here.
I think so. Yeah. But see, but I do like to play. I like to play Call of Duty. I do like to play the 2K.
Yeah.
But there's a level to this, man. You know what I mean? Like I play, but there's levels, man, where they dive into the game and they look for things within the game.
So, with that being said, I got a friend. Okay? I'm not going to name drop him, but when I was starting to play Call of Duty, he was teaching me everything. He would go watch YouTube videos, get books, go see any and everything, and then he's looking at different type of glitches online.
Yes, exactly.
Anything to gain an advantage, because the main thing he said was like, look, man, it's just like any other sport.
Yes.
People are going to try to find an edge any way that they possibly can to take advantage. And he's like, why can't we do it? So that and for him to study the game like that, and he's a gamer, but it's not like he has a major following. I would always tell him, bro, get a Twitch, get a following. He's like, man, I'm not doing that. You feel me? I got family, So I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, but I'm just sitting there thinking like, man, it's crazy because this strategy that goes into these things. These people dive into these games.
Yes.
And they also have people that follow these games and deliberately try to find any and everything wrong with them.
Yes.
People leak these glitches. People leak any type of thing. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The things he was telling me about the gaming community, it's crazy.
I've seen it. I've the controllers cost a little bit too much to break.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But I've experienced some quick headshots. I've experienced playing 2K, throwing the ball and they just steal it every time. I've experienced all this, and I'm just like, okay, I need to.
I got an aim bot on me.
Yeah.
Like,
For
it's
sure.
devastating, man.
Yeah,
These games are devastating.
Yeah, especially when you our age, man. It's like, man, come on, like, But this is so I really had to come to terms and I guess really have an understanding that this is the way the youth actually play video games. Again, they look for every single edge that you possibly can get, whether they got to go buy some aimbot, whether they got to go buy something where you can see through walls. So, Jeff, my question to you, being an NFL quarterback, being a 4-time Pro Bowler, having a career that spanned 16 years, is let's start with this. What do you play now? Do you play?
I'm not a gamer myself.
Okay.
No, I mean, I struggle. I try to play with my kids and I get frustrated. I can't do all it's just not correlating. I guess I just need to spend more time doing it, but it's not really my thing. I mean, I get it. I get like I said, where life has taken us and what's important to these kids these days. I understand that. I'm embracing that in ways, even though at times it's been a struggle, but I understand it. And so, my main thing is like I've talked about before is, hey, with my kids, it's understanding the balance of it and when they can have the opportunity to do it and when they don't need to be doing it based upon their attitude and the respect and their own obligations. I also see where they watch these guys on YouTube, these gamers on YouTube, and they'll sit there for hours if you don't interject with it, and they'll just watch other people play games and trying to figure out, some tactics as to how to get an advantage. And I mean, it's big, it's huge. And you guys talked about that earlier, but one last thing from me, because I got to get going here. I have a flight to catch this afternoon, but I'm excited about doing this football camp in Sacramento. There's a large 49er fan base out there east of the Bay Area, and I'm excited to be able to bring this camp along with Marlon into works at his old high school. And, we're going to inspire these young kids, these 7 to 13-year-olds, how to be better people, how to be better football players, how to be more competitive, how to overcome adversity, and put some work ethic towards something that you believe in, that you have a dream for, and that you want to be good at. And so to be able to do that for these youth, this is the first of hopefully many, and I'm excited to be able to do that on June 4th, right there in the Sacramento area. Marlon will fill you in on more information, but they can go to jeffgarciafootball.com and start signing up there.
Nice, beautiful, beautiful.
We also are embracing, sponsorships for kids to attend the camp, sponsorships for the camp. They'll get a nice T-shirt. They'll get an autographed photo. They'll get some swag. So we're excited to be able to bring that to the Sacramento fan base.
Nice, nice. You know what? Thank you so much for your time, Jeff. I really appreciate it. It's been an honor speaking with you and seeing what you got going on. And bless you for taking your time and blessing the youth with your knowledge and your expertise and everything that you do. So bless you for that. I really appreciate your time. Have a safe travel, and we really appreciate you for joining us today, sir.
Thanks, Jeff.
Appreciate it, guys. You guys take care. All the best to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Jeff, fly safe, boss.
Jeff Garcia, everybody. So, he touched on something really interesting, and I think this is like I don't even know how to categorize it, but I mean, like, if you just take a look at sports in general, right? When I was younger, when I wanted to learn how to do something, I used to watch Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? I used to study him like a hawk. And then what I would do after the game goes off or whatever, I would go outside and practice all his moves.
Yeah.
Right? So this is like this is like a parallel universe where the kids are doing the same thing that we were doing when we were kids, right? But now it's just gaming. I used to get on my daughter and I'm like, why are you watching somebody play a video game when you can go play yourself, not understanding. Yeah. And then I get into a match with her and she'll just tear me up real quick. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I get it now.
I'm about to blow your mind right now. So, again, we're bridging the gap, right?
Yeah.
When an athlete is studying an opponent, you feel me, looking at tape, what is that called? Watching film.
Yep. Yeah.
What do you think?
It's the same thing. Same
What do you
thing.
think? My son is 6 years old. He has a Nintendo Switch, right? And he plays this Sonic game. It's Sonic Frontier or something. I don't know. But the first day he got the game, he knew how to play the game.
Yes.
It wasn't like he needed instruction. I didn't help him pick this game up and learn how to play it. And I'm sitting here looking. I was like, how do you know how to do all this? How do you know where to go?
Yep.
How do you know?
I had the same
I've
experience.
already seen it. He's like, Dad, I watch it on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen such and such play, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just it's mind
Oh,
blowing.
we had that same exact experience. So a few years
it's
ago, we had
film stuff.
we had a partnership with Blizzard Entertainment, which creates some of the biggest games out there. I don't know if you've heard of Blizzard.
Yeah.
But Blizzard Activision, they had a game. We were going to do an international competition called Hearthstone, and I've played a lot of their games, but I hadn't played this one, and I didn't get it. It's like an online card game. I didn't understand it. I gave it over to my son at the time, he was only like 9 or 10 at the time. I'm like, can you help me figure out this game? Within 10 minutes.
Got it.
He wasn't only like had figured out how to play it. He was already on to level like 10 or
Yeah.
10 or
Telling you,
15
man.
within the first hour.
Yeah.
So like it's just it's intuitive.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're it's very intuitive when they're at this age. They just pick it up quickly. They're like little sponges.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then when he explained to me how it works, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. He said, why didn't you understand that, Dad? I don't know. It's really common sense. I'm like, I didn't get it.
No, like our common sense is a lot different than the common sense that's floating around now. Just because I don't know. I think you really do, especially if you have kids. You have to step back and then just kind of look at everything that they're doing as a whole,
Yeah.
and then realize why are they doing this, and then how does that translate to what you were doing, or how is that different from what we were doing when we were kids?
I still don't understand Roblox.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't.
understand it
I
at
don't.
all. I don't.
don't.
And my daughter's trying to. I said, "What are you doing? It's The Sims." Like,
Yeah.
and I get it. It's The Sims.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, what was I doing playing The Sims? I don't get it. What was I doing?
It's all about the
It's
creativity.
the creativity. You just get lost in the world. You feel me? Like,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad.
That's
thing.
another one too. Like with Roblox now, what I think is really cool. My son has a real interest in becoming an engineer.
Yes.
That's
Because
the thing.
to understand it.
building.
he's
That and
designing
Minecraft.
roller coasters in Roblox, and he'll spend hours designing roller coasters.
Yeah.
Dad, check this out, and he'll show me like a 20-minute roller coaster going on, and I'm like, he's learning. Basic,
Wow.
Jalen does that with
engineering.
cars. Like, that's what my son does. He builds little cars. You
Yeah,
feel me? And
yep.
says, Dad, look at this. This the engine. This all this. I'm like, where did you get this from? Oh, playing this, doing that. It just gave me that idea. I'm like,
Wow.
okay.
And that's opened up discussions in our household about where do you go to school if you want to be an engineer?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of classes do I need to take in high school? Like, can I get into theme park design? And so, I've partnered with the Theme Entertainment Association in my career, so I know the IAPA world, where the international attractions and theme parks and all those groups. So now he has a fascination that all came from a video game because he loved to play the Roblox designs, in Minecraft as well. I think Minecraft and Roblox both are like that.
Yeah.
Kids playing with fashion on the different games.
Yeah. Exactly.
My daughter's developed a love for art and fashion, and her main thing, like you just said, is going to San Francisco to the Art Institute. So, which is a beautiful thing. I'm like, do you think? Like,
that's
I'm
cool.
not mad. So it opens your mind up to different things, and again, you're trying to bridge that gap between physical and mental.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So I just encourage parents to have that guidance over it. If you see their interest, don't just write it off as a video game.
Yeah.
Because
not.
it could spawn an interest in a very rewarding career path or something that they thrive, something that they're excited about. And so you just need to tap into what it is about the game that resonates with them. Why are they playing certain games,
Yeah.
And just, I think, having the supervision over it
Yeah,
and
that's the main thing. the
provide some
supervision.
guidance. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's another aspect of that as well, because there takes a level of focus, right? They say the kids nowadays, their attention span really doesn't last very long. They say that, but then if you just say, like, if you just take a look at what they're doing, right? They have the capacity to focus on something, not only just for a short period of time, but for extended period of time. They're learning something at the same time. On top of that, they're applying what they're learning, which to me is probably one of the most important things that a young learner can do, is learn how to apply what they're learning to real life, right?
Right.
Because I can read a book and not apply any of the things that I've learned. I can watch a video as an adult and not apply any of the things that I've learned. And I noticed with my kids, they learn and then they immediately apply, and I get frustrated sometimes because I'm just like, listen to me, apply to what I'm telling you to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's taking that step back, looking at them and seeing how their relationship with whatever it is that they're doing, how does that, I guess, equate to what I used to do when I was a kid, or even what I'm doing as an adult when I can read something and then apply it. They kind of grasp that stuff a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Now it's just about piquing the interest, you know? So let me ask you this. Is there any opportunities to, I guess, design the video games?
Oh yeah, for sure. So game design is one of the areas that we talk about as far as like if you want to really get into, the esports industry or gaming in general, then the game design is a big attraction for a lot of these students. That's where my son's mindset is, either in engineering or design, game design. But there's so many areas like that too. The broadcasting and shoutcasting is another huge area.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of the competitors who come to our tournaments, and the students want to go into a career of broadcasting because they love to talk about the game. They like to talk over the game, and those it's called shoutcasting, kind of like a game caster.
Yeah.
And so they know the game, so they're able to talk intelligently about what's happening.
Yeah.
And bring that to life for those watching, and it makes a big difference.
Yes.
When we have a tournament and we just are doing a static like shot of the game, it's great, it's fun. But when you add an element of shoutcasters over top of it, and they're doing the commentary and personals, like tidbits about the players, it takes it to a whole nother level.
Yes.
And you're just like, then I realize why our kids are watching these for hours on YouTube, because they get so engaged with what's happening with the competition. It is like our Michael Jordan. It is our experiences growing up looking at athletes. They have those same experiences with who they like in the gaming world.
Yeah.
And I learned that during the pandemic. My kids were sitting in the living room, and there were no sports on because everything had kind of shut down. And so there was a gaming tournament being played on ESPN. And
I seen that.
Yeah, and I was like, "Are you guys seriously still watching?" I went out of the room. I came back an hour later, and they're still into it. I started to go change the channel. No, Dad, what? Turn it back. They got all mad at me. I'm like, "Are you guys serious?" They're like, "Yeah, we just watched the whole tournament. We want to see who wins."
Yeah.
So they were invested into
Yes.
it, and then it just clicked with me. I'm like, okay, we had already been working with themed entertainment groups and with sports groups doing stuff globally through our company, and we were starting to get into the esports a little bit, and that's when it really clicked for me that, hey, this is where this generation is at.
Yes.
This is where they're this is where they find their connectivity.
Yep.
All those things we just talked about. But again, I want to bring it back to the health side of things, because I, as a parent, want to make sure I could encourage my kids to have fun with the gaming, but to be healthy in how they're doing it. So we have that same balance that Marlon was talking about, where we have our kids involved with sports and dance and water polo and other sports that they love. But they also, all three of my kids are big gamers. Like they like to sit around and play, on their devices and compete with their friends. And that's where they connect with their friends from school. When they get out of school, they can jump on and do a competition. That's why we put a lot of effort as a company into partnering with entities that are looking at the health side of things. One of them I want to mention quickly is a company called Sly.
Okay.
It's like the anti-energy drink. It's more like a recovery drink for gamers. So it's got so I think Marlon's tried it.
Tried it.
So I want to give a shout out to Sly, because they're going to be partnering with us on a lot of stuff. But it's got melatonin. It's got no or low sugar on the different brands that they have. And basically it's kind of getting rid of that mentality that these are just gamers are just junk food addicts and they're living in dark basements. We're trying to push in a different direction, that no, actually the ones who are good gamers are taking care of their body. They're taking care of their eyesight. They're taking care of good ergonomics in their desk, which you can take into your business life too. Like we all should be thinking about, what kind of chair are we sitting in? Like, is our posture good? Like, are we slouching? The stand-up desks are a big thing now. A lot of gamers are standing up when they play too. So there's all those things that kind of come into play that we should be thinking about from a technology side, but also from a health. Get your eyes checked regularly.
Yes.
Take care of any kind of condition that might have impeding your health. So I think that's a very important message. I think that we're trying to preach and promote, and companies like Sly that come alongside of us. There's an organization called Fit Gamer that we work with. that's also helping with the health side of things. Another one of our sports partners and athletes is Ruthie Bolton, who's the 2-time gold medalist and
Sacramento legend.
yeah, Sacramento
Man,
legend.
Sacramento, stand up.
Yeah, the WNBA champion. So Ruthie, shout out to Ruthie. Say I want to say hi to her.
There you go.
But she's been with us from the start
Nice.
too.
Yeah.
Kevin Brown, who kind of connected all of us.
Yes.
Former MLB player. These are some of the pioneers that see what's happening with esports and that convergence of sports. And so a shout out to Ruthie because between Marlon and Ruthie, the two of the most fit people I've ever seen. Like, oh my gosh! I don't try to do any like arm wrestling competitions with those two, but
There's like levels to it, man. There's like levels to how fit you can be. You know what I mean? I see people that are fit, and then you see pro athlete fit. You just know it right away when you see a pro athlete. You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
out the gate. And Ruthie's that way too. Like you got to see Ruthie is amazing, and she's great with the kids. She does the female empowerment with the young girls, and talk about overcoming adversity.
Yeah.
We just heard Marlon's story. Ruthie has another amazing story. Was featured on ESPN 30 for 30 special they did because she's a survivor of domestic violence. While she's winning gold medals, she's running for her life at home and kept that all to herself and survived. Grew up in a big family, like the daughter of like one of 20 kids, grew up.
Wow.
Would just overcome major adversity, but you would never know. Like her demeanor and attitude is beautiful. Like just it brings you to tears when you see her talk with kids. It's so inspiring, and that to me, that's why we do what we do. Is we want to inspire the youth to be great.
Yes.
Like maybe you're not going to be a champion esports player, but hey, you're gonna be great at something.
Yes.
Your passion, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
And so we want to encourage the youth to find that, whatever that is for them.
Yep.
And we're gonna use great people like Marlon and Jeff and Ruthie and our Kevin and Greg Vaughn and all these great athletes that understand this. They understand that the esports generation is here.
Yes.
The AI technology is here. We don't know where that's going to lead us, but my gosh, it's like the world is changing so fast. How do we adapt and how do we make it healthy and make it safe?
Yeah, that's a great thing. And then on top of that, so when I was playing video games when I was younger, there's a learning curve, right? So you have to you take Mario Brothers for instance, right? You start on level 1, it gets progressively harder, and then at the end of the road, you got this boss that you gotta fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have the bosses no more. Now it's like when I played Call of Duty, I got thrown right into the fire.
It's all throughout the game.
You know what I mean? The bosses exactly.
It's all throughout
This
the
is the
game.
hardest level. Just boom,
Right
just
out
straight
the
out the
gate,
gate.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, and when I first started playing Call of Duty too, because I haven't been playing it for too long, probably a couple years. My boys are like, hey man, just try this game, right? And I get in there as soon as I spawn, boom, headshot. I'm like, okay. So now I'm a duck. I'm gonna go hide somewhere. You know?
You got to think of some of these games, like the way they introduce you to the game is the tutorial, but the tutorial is the game.
Yes.
Like, when I first played Red Dead Redemption, I'm like, okay, where do I get started? This the game.
Yes.
Like,
You
hold
in
on
there.
now, I'm
You in this.
there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they're teaching me how to play the game and I'm less like, man, the way they think about this
Yes.
stuff is amazing just to keep you engaged with
Yes.
it. It's beautiful, man. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And then it raised that competitive level too, because I'm naturally competitive, and I know when I took that first headshot, I'm like, okay, let me I'm gonna lay down for a little while, and you know what I mean. I'm gonna try to see what's going on, and then I did some practices. You know what I mean. I found other ways to get better. I'm decent now. I still get mad and almost want to break my controller because there'd be some people on there doing some stuff to me. Even like NBA 2K, like when that game first started, there wasn't any online. There was you play the season, or you can play like against your homeboy versus or whatever. You know what I mean? Now it's like you got the park and you got other little things that you can do. You got the rec, the Jordan thing, and the ante up and all this. And this is like some of the competition level on some of this stuff is I don't even know if there's a limit to how good some of these people are, because I've played with some pretty good people and I win, and then I play against somebody else and they just blow us out the water, and I'm like, wow, what do I need to do to get to that level? So these kids nowadays, they have something that is special if you can step back and take notice to it, and then realize like, okay, they can go pro in something else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's one of the models, because we have a couple of programs in the Fortune schools in South Sacramento, and that's what I try to tell the kids. I'm like, go pro. You can go pro. You can be an NFL player, MLB, or whatever the case may be, but there's also other things that you can do where you can go pro. So I'm like, go pro and something else.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to know that it's there.
Yeah, the word pro isn't limited to professional athlete. You feel me?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
There's a professional is anybody that's great at their craft. So go pro in whatever you want to.
Yes.
Like there's professional cooks. Like if you
Yes.
want to call
yeah.
it that, but you feel me? They're called chefs. You're not gonna call that person a professional cook. You're gonna call them a chef.
Yes.
You feel me? So it's just it's different titles for it. But when you see a professional athlete, you'll say professional athlete. You're not just gonna say athlete. So I guess that professional title may give it prestige, but I see just as much value as in the janitor as I do in the person that's running the ball down the field. You feel me? Like there's people that own janitorial companies that are doing very well in their lives, and they're professionals. You feel me? Custodial services, whatever. You feel me? I don't want to. I'm just letting you know, like. There's nothing that you have to limit yourself to.
Yes.
Just don't put yourself in the athlete box. Put yourself in the athlete box, the fashion box, the I can cook box.
The shoveling dog poop box.
The shoveling dog
Hey, look,
box. It don't matter.
I knew it was real. I knew it was real when I seen. I forgot the name of that company.
1-800 dog poop.
Yeah,
my
I'm
neighbors
like,
use it.
yeah, I'm sitting
I'm
there
like-
looking like, hold on, no, this has got to be a joke. Are they fake or something? I seen another one. I'm like, oh man,
That's
if you
real.
can go pro and picking up dog poop, there's really, I don't know if there's, I don't know how low. I don't even say low. I don't even know if there's anything that you can't do.
Well, this is what I hope they're doing with it. I hope they're finding some way to take that and find some type of fuel out of it, because there's no
That's a lot.
way that you're just saying, hey, let me grab this,
I'm
put it in
sure.
my car, and then just riding off. There's no way.
Yeah, like where are you actually
Like, where
putting
you
that? Where you
going?
disposing of it?
I don't have a dog, so I don't know what this is all about.
I got neighbors that got dogs, and when I see them walking out, I see them walking out with a bag.
Oh, yeah.
You feel me? They walk in without, they walk out with a bag.
And a pretty hefty bag too. It don't just be a little light bag. It's pretty. It's pretty
know.
full. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the spirit of entrepreneurship that we're talking
Yeah.
about, and that's kind of what, again, what drives us is that I love seeing that spark
Yes.
in students when they discover what they want to do. And at all of our tournaments, so I'll have one conversation after another with the students about what they're going to do when they graduate. What they want to do with what they've learned through esports. Their friends that they know. Oh, I met so and so, and I played together for 2 years on the team, and now we're going to go into business together when we graduate.
Yep.
Those stories are so awesome. They're going to either start a tech company or a broadcasting company, or to see them thinking that I don't have to just go work for someone. I can pave my own way. I can be my own boss, or maybe I want to go work for that one company that I've always aspired to be part of. That could be a Blizzard, that could be a Psionics, or some of these great gaming companies out there. And we have a bunch locally here in Sacramento that we're trying to partner with. So I love it. It's just a fun environment, and hopefully people will be inspired.
Yes. Whatever I can do to help get the word out there, promote it. I love it. It has a special place for me because, again, my first video game was Atari 2600. So that's like I go.
Mine too.
Yeah.
And then went on to ColecoVision.
Yeah. And there's just so many different levels. You just see the evolution. And the crazy thing is, some of those old little 8-bit games, they're back now. You know what I mean? Like some kids are playing that stuff.
No, there's a retro company here in Roseville that does retro gaming called Fire and Ice. And in fact, I was talking to the owner yesterday. And another shout out to another friend.
Is that the one on Douglas?
It's,
Corner on Douglas?
Yep.
Yeah, they have one now too in Rockland next to the Dollar Tree right there on Lone Tree.
Nice.
But Fire and Ice does a nice job of bringing back some of the old retro games.
Yes.
I love going in their store with my son and looking at the old games that I used to play that game.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get it. Let's try it out.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. There's so many, again, there's so many different levels to it, you know what I mean? And it's starting to come back around, which is the beautiful part about it. And, being able to get into, going from playing video games to being a professional gamer, or even getting into the realm where you can create the video games is even special as well.
Right.
I just don't have, I wish I could, I just can't. It doesn't interest me enough to try to create a video game. It just, the thought power that goes into that.
It's crazy. Oh, in fact, this reminds me of something. So one of our new partners who we're working with, we're talking about the convergence of sports and gaming and the creativity. So now what you're starting to see, we all remember Bo Jackson being the first to do like the real big name that did football and baseball. And then, Deion Sanders did the same. Well, now you've got pro football players who are also pro gamers.
Wow.
The Kansas City
NBA
Chiefs have a
player.
player Juju. I think his name is Juju.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep.
Mhm.
Massive gamer.
Really?
He just went pro gaming and he's a pro athlete at the same time. And so we're going to
Deion Sanders.
Yeah,
I
so-
believe he
so-
did a lot of work with the cat named Ninja, I believe.
Okay.
I'm not too sure about
Yeah.
everybody in the gaming world,
Yeah.
but I believe like him, they're real tight. So
Okay.
you start winning with that guy, you must be pretty.
Well,
Yeah.
I think these guys realize that, my career is only going to be for so long. Your body can only take a
forever.
beating for so long.
Yeah.
There was another NFL guy who collected Pokemon cards
Mhm.
and had a collection that made him huge millions of dollars from Pokemon.
Wow.
And so he,
Oh, yeah,
he
yeah.
I don't know if you saw that
I've seen
story,
that recently,
but
yeah.
he retired so he could focus on his Pokemon passion.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing to me like the things that are happening.
Yeah.
And you see this, to me, that's exciting to see, like a Bo Jackson of esports and pro
Yes.
sports. So this is the kind of thing, like if you're a young person out there, don't limit yourself.
Mhm.
You know, like the world is your oyster. Figure out what you're good at,
Yes.
and then just put your energy into it, and and make the best of what your talents are.
Yeah. If somebody could start a business from picking up poop and then take whatever they're taking,
We're back to the
everybody.
poop again.
Yeah. Everybody couldn't have agreed with that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. But I mean,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this: do you think there could be a time when this e-gaming, when there's like, okay, let's take NBA 2K. They have the NBA 2K league. I'm not sure. Are there any NFL leagues like that or any MLB
yeah,
leagues?
yeah.
See,
So-
they got the Kings.
Yeah,
Guard
we just
already.
Yeah, the
partnered
Kings
with-
Guard. Yeah, for sure.
We partnered with the Kings Guard. There's also an Overwatch Pro League, the League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
League of Legends just held one of the biggest esports tournaments in San Francisco.
Wow.
Just a few months ago, and so you're getting big name artists come in to do like concerts. I think that Little Nas or somebody at the last one they did. But that's what we're trying to do for the collegiate scene.
Wow.
Is to put the gaming on a higher stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely getting to that level now. There are pro leagues
Yeah.
for multiple games out there. And so what CESI is working on, this is a kind of little preview. We're working with the group that's going to be bringing an international competition, kind of like at Olympic level or a FIFA level.
Oh wow.
That's gonna hopefully be played in multiple venues around the globe.
Wow.
And so I'll keep you posted on that as
Please
it
do.
emerges, but it's all kind of in the preliminary stages. But CESI will be a formal part of that advisory team
Nice.
for the U.S.
Nice.
So helping to put the U.S. on the stage that's competing globally.
Wow.
And so we're talking Saudi Arabia, Macau,
That's
Tokyo.
crazy.
Like,
Wow.
they're going to be doing this all over the globe. And so to me, if I was a young person and I love gaming, even if I wasn't going to go pro or be able to compete there, I'm going to see that there's an industry opportunity there.
Yeah.
Like that growth is going to create marketing opportunity, digital advertising opportunity, like whatever brands or marketing or products you might want to get involved with. There's going to be huge, a business opportunity tied
Yes,
to
for
that
sure.
too. So it's exciting. It's a very exciting time right now.
Now let me ask you this: when it comes to the Kings Guard and the NBA Esports League, right? Is there a time where we're going to see like a game that's specifically formulated for, like, let's say the MLB or let's say the NFL? Is there going to be something?
I think you'll see that. I think every single we have another partner that's involved with architecture at some of the big parks for pro venues, and almost every single new venue that's being looked at for the future is putting some kind of gaming or esports lounge or fantasy sports kind of piece to the park. Because if you're going to own or build a park or a stadium, then you want to have ongoing revenue tied to it, right? Because a lot of the old parks were static. When there wasn't a game going on, they were just sitting empty, and that's a waste of space, a waste of real estate. Now they're getting more creative, creating ongoing activities outside of just the league or the season. So I think you're going to see MLB parks, NBA stadiums, NFL stadiums, all incorporating ongoing daily activities that will maybe feature their team, whether it's an MLB game or a
Something
NHL
interactive.
game.
Yeah.
That there's going to be some kind of tied to it. I think NBA 2K kind of paved a lot of the same thing with soccer. FIFA did that with soccer.
Yeah.
FIFA's doing that. The games for soccer are big, but it is interesting though, because you would think that esports you naturally would tie the game to a professional sport, not so much.
Yeah.
Like the popular games the colleges are playing are like Valorant, Overwatch, Rocket League. You know, NBA 2K is probably one of the sports centered games that is really popular. But it's not just because it's a sports based game is not what makes it esport.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
competitiveness of the team coming together is what makes it an esport.
Gotcha.
So and that's something those are the kind of things we go around and teach about. You know, esports 101. You know, how do you even spell esports? You know, like a lot of people still using dashes and lowercase e, capital S. You know, and right away people know if you're a hack or not, and if you're engaged. So we like to try to bring some some of the industry trends to some knowledge about that kind of stuff to our audiences. And so it's really fascinating. I think you will see major parks and leagues all tying in a digital component, whether it's metaverse, VR, game lounges, fantasy play. It's all right around the corner.
Wow. Man, this has been one of my favorite episodes of the podcast, man. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now.
Oh, well, thanks for having us.
Man, so I've held you guys up for about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours now.
Let's talk about this camp one more time.
Yes, sir. I was just getting ready to say that. Yes, sir. So if there is something you want to plug, yes, please do.
The Thomas High School, June 4th. Okay, the Jeff Garcia Foundation football camp. Okay, hosted by Jeff Garcia. All right, make sure everybody's there. Check-in will be at 10 a.m. The camp starts at 11. We'll go for a few hours, and like Gordon said, we'll be able to enjoy the esports aspect of it because that's what we're trying to bridge as well at Rock and Soul. So make sure you guys go to Play On. I believe it's
PLAYYON.com.
And we
Make
also
sure you guys get that as well.
we also will have scholarships based on hardships if needed for kids. So make sure you guys check us out and take a look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll post all that on our CESI website as well, which is www.cesisports.com.
Yes. Perfect. Well, that's going to do it for us today. I really appreciate everybody who tuned in. I appreciate my guest, Marlon Moore. I appreciate Gordon Hinkle. We appreciate Jeff Garcia for joining us. I hope everyone has learned something today about what the world is doing and where we're going today when it comes to esports. And I hope everybody has a blessed day, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.